4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Biggest plays the day before in college football.
Jeanty, his first touch. And typical Ashton Jeanty. Look at him go! You can't bring him down!
to getting you ready for all the mayhem that comes your way every NFL Sunday.
It's intercepted at the 40. It picked off by DeGene, who comes to the near side, the 30. Got a block at the 20, breaks a tackle, the 10, the 5, to the pylon. Touchdown!
This is Sunday Morning Football. And here is your host, Zach Gelb.
We have made it. We've returned live from the palatial yet not overly ostentatious studios of the Infinity Sports Network here in beautiful New York City, sitting on top of a rainy 10th floor of 345 Hudson Street. This is Sunday Morning Football. I am your host, Zach Gelb, across all the great local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM, Channel 375, the free Odyssey app, the iHeartRadio app. And yes, Nico did some homework this week. Yes, Nico came prepared. I got Ray on the other side as well. It's not really surprising that Ray is prepared. Nico, a little bit, it is surprising. We are streaming live on YouTube as well. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. So big thanks to Cap and Nico for helping us out on the YouTube side of it so people can see us. Not only can you hear me, but you could see me. And if you think I look good on YouTube, by the way, 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern time for the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network, which is my weekday gig here, I look even better right out of bed on a Sunday morning. And that's what we're going to do for the next 18 NFL Sundays. That's right. This is one of 18. We have 18 weeks in the regular season. And the way that this show goes, first off, if you're a returning customer from last year, we thank you so much. If you are new, welcome. Where the heck have you been? But with that being said, the 10 a.m. Eastern time hour is all things college football. So when you get at me on the good old cesspool of Twitter, on Instagram, where I'm straight flexing, and you're like, why are you talking college football? NFL kicks off in 3 hours. Well, that's the way that this show is designed. 10 a.m. Eastern time to 11, we do all things college football. Then when the clock goes right to 11, right when it strikes at 11, we go all things NFL. College at 10, college through 10:59, then 11 o'clock to the end of the show at 12, NFL, 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 NFL. What a day yesterday in college football, by the way. You know, there's some weekends when we come on in, and I said this on my show during the week. Whenever someone tells me, it's kind of going to be a down weekend in college football, that's when I say to them, that's going to be the best weekend. Like, I remember last year going into, it was Notre Dame and Marshall, it was. And someone said to me, it's going to be Notre Dame, NIU. Sorry, Notre Dame lost to Marshall a few years ago and then NIU. But it was last year because I was at a wedding. And I hate going to weddings in football season. You know, the two weddings I went to in football during football season last year, it was Alabama losing to Vanderbilt and it was Notre Dame losing to NIU. But whenever somebody tells me, just like how they did last year, oh, don't worry about it, it's a down weekend in college football, Notre Dame's playing NIU, that's when the mayhem happens. And every Tom, Dick, and Harry this past week, all these people that talk college football and don't really know the difference between their elbow and their ass, and they still can't figure out that every week in college football is effing awesome. People told me, it's not going to be a great week. You know, my producers during the week, Samter and Stu, who I love, they said, it's kind of an underwhelming week of college football. And Stu looked at me, he goes, I know exactly what you're going to say. That's how you know I've been working with Stu long enough. He could start to complete my sentences before I even start to say it. And he goes, this means it's going to be an epic weekend. And there's some days that we walk into the studio, and it's like, all right, you have an hour to fill, and it's one topic per segment. Well, let me just tell you how many games we're going to highlight in this hour. We are going to highlight 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I'm probably forgetting one, so it's probably 10. We're going to try to get to all those. But what happened yesterday, and we'll start with USF. Like, if you would have said to me going into the weekend, what's the game that you're leading Sunday Morning Football with on Sunday? I would say, probably Michigan and Oklahoma. That was the biggest game on paper, going into this weekend. But the unpredictability of college football did reign supreme yesterday. Florida losing to USF. Holy smokes. Now, I'm a fan of the American Athletic Conference because I went to Temple University. I remember when Temple and USF in 2014 and 2015 were epic games. Shout out to the former USF quarterback Quinton Flowers and the former running back in Marlon Mack. That program used to be really good. When Willie Taggart was there, they had an 11-2 season. Then Charlie Strong took over, the former Texas coach, and they went 10-2. Since then, though, 7 wins, 4 wins, 1 win, 2 win, 1 win. That was all before AG Alex Golesh got there. It's all before him. Look how that program, they had back-to-back double-digit seasons. 11-2, 10-2. Then they were 7-6, 4-8, 1-8, 2-10, 1-11. Then Alex Golesh walks in, coming over from that Tennessee staff, 7-6, 7-6. Pretty damn good. You know, you're not going from the outhouse to the penthouse, but the first 2 years you went from the outhouse to a good 3-star hotel where they give you complimentary breakfast in the morning. And you wake up after a long night of drinking and it's like, oh, wow, these powdery eggs are pretty good. Oh, they got a waffle machine over there? Oh, that's awesome. Right? That's what they've done. And you walk out and you go, was it the Fontainebleau? No. Was it the Four Seasons? No. But I go back there. It was a good $110 hotel. And it was clean. And the food was good. But what USF has done the first 2 weeks of the season, they have taken the first shot, especially after their victory up against Florida, who was ranked 13th in the country heading into yesterday. And they ended up winning the game 18-16. What USF did yesterday was they took the first shot at saying, we're the lead out of the non-Power 4 conferences. That's what they did. And they started off the season where most people thought, okay, the lead spot to get into the college football playoff out of the non-Power 4 conferences, the G5, whatever they call it these days, was Boise State. Well, they didn't just beat Boise State. They smothered them. That second half was all USF, and they won that game 34-7. But then yesterday, you go into it with the 2-game stretch of Florida and Miami. If you win one of those games, like remember, Boise State last year didn't beat Oregon. They should have. They lost by 3. That was also that same weekend of Notre Dame and NIU. Because I remember after having a few pops at that wedding that I was at, I was up late at night watching Ashton Genty go up against Dan Lanning. But they didn't even beat Oregon, and they won their conference, the Mountain West, and they went to the college football playoff. Look at the resume that South Florida has already built for themselves this year. Boise State, victory, top 25. Florida, victory, top 15. And then next week, there's really no pressure on them. They are, it's icing on the cake. It's the cherry on top of the sun. They already did their job. They play Miami. Quite frankly, if you were a USF fan, even if you thought your team was really good going into the season, I said to you, Boise State, Florida, Miami to open up the year, you go 1-2, you probably take it. You're now 2-0. And then after that, the Miami game, they play SC State, Charlotte, North Texas, FAU, Memphis, UTSA, Navy, UAB, and Rice. So who knows what happens? But through 2 weeks of the college football season, if you want to say 3 weeks, if you factor in week 0, but it's referred to as 2 weeks, USF is a team that they would be the pick right now to be in the college football playoff because they would be the one representative that isn't a Power 4 conference. And you know what also? Alex Golesh looks like he should be coaching Florida, and Billy Napier should be coaching USF. And I always say this too. It's rare for everyone to be out on a coach, and then when you get back in on that coach and people jump back in on the bandwagon, for people to stay on the bandwagon. Look at Neil Brown, who used to be at West Virginia. Everyone was out, had a good season. People jump back in. He's the right guy to stay. And then he's no longer there, and Rich Rod's coaching West Virginia now. You know, back for another tour with the Mountaineers. That's where we're at with Billy Napier. And in a weird way, all these coaches, right, they bitch about the transfer portal and NIL and how difficult it is on their lives. Boo-hoo-hoo, give me a break. In a weird way, it actually helps these coaches. Because a coach like Billy Napier already should have been fired from Florida. But why was Billy Napier brought back to Florida this past year, for this season? it's because they were afraid that they were going to lose DJ Lagway if they got rid of Billy Napier. But he's a dead man walking. And this is now a second year in a row that we say Billy Napier is a dead man walking. And it's unfortunate because he did a really good job at Louisiana. 7 wins, 11 wins, 10 wins, and then they had that 12-1 season. But you've been at Florida since 2022. And I understand this isn't Urban Meyer's Florida, but you are 6-7, 5-7, 8-5, 1-1. You beat Long Island. All right? And then you lost to USF. Let's hear the game-winning field goal by Nico Gramatica. This was on Florida radio. Let's hear this side. You would think we'd play you the USF call. But let's hear the Florida side of it to see where the misery is. And if you weren't watching this game, this was towards the end when the kid missed the field goal. It was like about with 2 minutes left, I believe, maybe a little bit more. Yeah, he missed that field goal with 2:52 left. It was a 58-yarder, right? It wasn't a chip shot. But he missed that field goal. And then Florida, they get the ball back, and you're like, okay, under 3 minutes to go. Don't hand the ball back to USF, and you wipe a lot of sweat off the cabeza. Well, 3 and out. And they give the ball to USF, and this completed an 8-play drive, 87 yards, and here was the chip shot field goal to win the game.
Right down the middle. It's between the hashes. This is a 20-yard chip shot. This is for the game. Snap down. Kicks away. It's good. And it's zeros on the clock. And South Florida has upset Florida 18-16.
You hear the disappointment on the Florida side of it because you can't even process what just hit you when USF beats Florida. Oh, my goodness gracious. Let's hear from Billy Napier. He takes responsibility for the loss. Obviously, he should, but let's hear a defeated coach and probably a deflated coach in Billy Napier.
Okay, not good enough, and it's my responsibility. I think when you evaluate the game, the red zone missed opportunities caught up with us, and we let them hang around. And certainly the penalties contributed to the game. I think we had over 100 yards in penalties. It extended their drives, and it slowed down our drives.
Man, not good enough. I almost wanted to play the Curb Your Enthusiasm music. Just tune that up and fade out that coach. Oh, my goodness gracious. So we'll get the winning side of it. Here's the USF head coach, Alex Golesh, on what his team needs to do moving forward, and he wants his team to stay humble as they get set for Miami.
Really proud of our guys. I just told them in the locker room, remain humble through this whole thing. Enjoy it tonight. Come back in the morning with a really humble approach. We gotta reset and continue to believe in our process, continue to believe in each other.
Oh, here's the thing. That is a good message from that coach. Now, can you sound a little bit more energetic? Absolutely. Can you show a little more emotion? Sure. But that dude has his eye on the prize. He doesn't want this to be the highlight of the season. He knows a win like this, he was already a hot commodity last year. He knows a win like this is going to get him his next job at a bigger program when you beat Florida. And also, you've been coaching in the state of Florida. Heck, I'd get rid of Billy Napier and make him the coach tomorrow. That's what I would do. But when you have a win like this early in the season, and you also had Boise State last week, you don't want it to be the highlight of your year. You want to go on and eventually go where this team should be going. And it's not a given. But they did make the first strike. They did plant the flag in the ground first. We'll see if they can keep it there and continue to mark their territory. And where they're planting their flag is that destination of a college football playoff berth. And that would be a remarkable season for USF. All righty, let's get to the big dud from last night. Oklahoma and Michigan. I don't even know where to start with Michigan. And if you listen to me during the week, you know I'm a Michigan fan. Their offensive line, which was awesome under Jim Harbaugh, was even really good last year. Their offensive line stunk last night. I know everyone's killing Bryce Underwood. I thought Oklahoma was going to win the game, to be clear. I was not optimistic going into this one. I don't think Oklahoma, by the way, is a great team this year. And you want to look at some of these schedules, by the way. You look at Oklahoma's schedule. Next week, they play Temple, which is my alma mater. But after that, the Oklahoma schedule is Auburn, Kent State. This is where it really picks up. Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Alabama, Missouri, and LSU. You look at that schedule for Oklahoma from October on, it's a gauntlet. And you know what? I forgot to do this when we were talking about Florida. This will just encapsulate how bad of a season it's going to be for Florida, who just lost to South Florida. This is their schedule the rest of the way. LSU, Miami, Texas, A&M, Mississippi State, who beat Arizona State last night, Georgia, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Florida State. I'm sorry, Gators fans. You lost to South Florida. You haven't even played. You played Long Island and South Florida. You play LSU and Miami and Texas in the next 3 weeks. Oh, my, what are those scores going to be? You never know with college football, though. But getting back to Michigan, Oklahoma, the line for Michigan is no bueno right now. And here's what I struggle with. And I know that Bryce Underwood is a freshman, true freshman, and he's extremely young. I got to see him run the ball more. In week 1 against New Mexico, barely ran the ball. Last night, what, he had like 3, 4, 5 carries at most? He's got to run the ball more. You know, I said this during the week, and I stand by it. If RG3, college RG3, and Vince Young, college Vince Young, if they had a baby, the child would be Bryce Underwood. That's what he's supposed to be. Big arm, big body, and can run. The thing is, though, and he did not throw the ball well last night, we're only really seeing him throw the ball. And I thought, okay, week 1, maybe you're not going all go, full go. You want to save because there's not a lot of tape on him. So maybe you save that for Oklahoma and then you unleash it. They didn't do that last night. So there's a lot to work on for Bryce Underwood. But you heard someone like Urban Meyer and Big Noon yesterday rave about Bryce Underwood. It's because of the potential. But a wise man, I don't know if he's a wise man, but someone once told me, potential means you haven't done it yet. And I think Michigan last night showed you, okay, they're going to still be a year away. Last year, they couldn't throw the forward pass. So far this year, they're not doing all that well in that department, but you believe in who's calling, on who's running the offense and who is the quarterback of that team, and that's Bryce Underwood. But that team's, they've lost a lot, Michigan, the last 3 years. But last night, I was hoping that was going to be a fight, and it seemed as if Michigan was all or nothing, and that touchdown they got was, a 75-yard run. They couldn't sustain a drive. They could not go on consistent drives. And when you can't do that, someone like Brent Venables, who there's a lot on the line for Brent Venables this year. He needed that game more than Michigan needed that game, especially when they're home too. But a guy like Brent Venables is going to be able to take advantage and do the bare minimum to win, in addition when you have an experienced quarterback like John Mateer. Let's hear John Mateer's 10-yard touchdown run. This gave Oklahoma the 21-7 lead. This is the Oklahoma Radio Network, the Sooners Radio Network.
Overload left, 2 wideouts, 2 tight ends, left side. Now Blaylock moves to the right of Mateer. There's the snap. Mateer runs it himself, bounced it to the right. He's got room. He's to the 5. He's into the end zone. Easy like Sunday morning. John Mateer untouched from 10 yards out. Touchdown.
I like to thank Oklahoma. They did a nice little promo for us. Easy like Sunday morning. You forgot the football part with Zach Gell, but, we'll take that. Here's Brent Venables. He says, happy to win, but they didn't play their best.
A lot of fun to be a part of, the passion, the energy in the stadium, in our locker room. Hard-fought victory. Didn't play our best game and still won by a couple scores. So we'll take that. It really felt like there's a lot of the game we played really, really well.
And then finally, let's get to this, and then we'll take a break. Texas yesterday. I know they played San Jose State. They won 38-7. In week 1, the biggest storyline, oh boy, Arch Manning was definitely in there. Could be the top one, the disappointment with his performance up against Ohio State. You had LSU, the Tiger family, with Brian Kelly taking care of business of Clemson. You then also had Florida State with their enormous victory up against Alabama. Bill Belichick going up 7-0, then allowing 41 unanswered points as TCU smothered UNC. And then you had Notre Dame, who ended up losing to Miami. But Arch Manning got slammed. It was good to see him bounce back yesterday. the reality, though, is anyone going to care that Arch Manning was 19 of 30 for 295 yards and 4 touchdowns and a pick against San Jose State? You did that against Ohio State. Oh, wow. You do that in your next big game. Oh, wow. But that's where Texas is at right now. You lose to Ohio State. I still think they're going to make the college football playoff, Texas. You play San Jose State, who you just beat yesterday, UTEP, and Sam Houston. The next game that anyone probably will give a rat's ass about Texas about is their game up against Florida, and you should beat Florida. Florida just lost to USF. So they get a 2-week stretch where they play Florida and Oklahoma, and that's when the Arch Manning hype will start to build back up again. Let's listen up to Arch Manning. This is him saying, happy to get the win, but he does admit that that he played sloppy in the contest.
A lot to work on. I thought it was sloppy for my part. Can't turn the ball over in the red area. I kind of made some throws where defense had a chance to pick, which they didn't. So got to play better. I think all around it was a little sloppy.
All righty, this is Sunday Morning Football. Zach Gelb here on the Infinity Sports Network. When we come on back, a crazy comeback by the Bears of Baylor that Dave Aranda needed. And also, we will get into an epic showdown between Iowa and Iowa State. Plus, maybe a bit of a little different year for Sam Levitt and Kenny Dillingham as well. We'll get to all that when Sunday Morning Football returns after these short messages.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Sunday Morning Football with Zach Gelb.
That's right. It is Sunday Morning Football, and that's right. I'm also Zach Gelb. This portion of the show is brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck at a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. 2 games yesterday that I looked at, and I said going into the game, line seems a little bit too good to be true. I call them a fishy line. And one of those fishy lines was SMU as a 3-point favorite up against Baylor. I said, with the way that Baylor looked up against Auburn, it feels as if that line should have been more. Another line was Duke only being a 2.5-point underdog to Illinois. Now, when you gamble, more times than not, you lose rather than you win. So I'm not just going to sit here and tell you about my win, because I was on Baylor yesterday plus the points, but then I was on Duke. And Duke plus the 2.5, it looked good for a while. And then in the second half, in a game that was winnable for Manny Diaz and company, Brett Bielema and Luke Altmaier showed you why they are a really damn good team this year. But that Baylor game, there's no way Baylor should have won that game. And I think it's 13 times in a row or 14, something like that, that Baylor has defeated SMU. But you look at Baylor, that game, it was over. You know, I was sitting there at one point in the fourth quarter, and I go, what a disastrous start for Dave Aranda. You're at home last week, you get smothered by Auburn, and then you're sitting there at 38-24 in the fourth quarter. You're down 14 with 8:38 left. After SMU just had another touchdown. Is anyone thinking they're going to win the game? I didn't. I didn't think they were going to win the game whatsoever. And towards the end of the game, I thought Aranda, when they had the touchdown to tie it, and you know what? Let's play you that right now. This is the Baylor Radio Network. This is the Kobe Prentice 21-yard touchdown to tie the game, to complete the 14-point comeback, and eventually the game did go into overtime. But let's hear that touchdown first.
Right to the line of scrimmage. Quick snap back from the 21. Pass over the middle. He's caught. Touchdown. Oh, it's a touchdown. Is he in? Kobe Prentice, touchdown Bears. 21-yard touchdown pass. Second receiving touchdown today by Prentice. The Bears are an extra point away from tying this game.
So when they tie up that game and they come back from down 14, I'm thinking to myself, don't tie it. Go win it right there. That's what I was sitting there thinking. I thought that they should have gone on out there and go get the touchdown. I mean, go get the 2-point conversion to go win the game. That's what I was thinking. And Aranda didn't do so. And it didn't come back to kill Aranda because they got the game, obviously, into overtime. And there was a controversial targeting towards the end of regulation where they called it. And let me tell you, I was on Baylor. If I just had to guess, Andrew Perloff, who does Maggie and Perloff right here on the Infinity Sports Network, he had to be betting SMU yesterday because he was incensed over the fact that it was called targeting I didn't think they were going to overturn it, but I didn't think the flag should have initially been thrown. And because they picked up the flag, or because they said it was no longer targeting, they picked up the 15 yards. So that didn't allow them to hit what would have been an easier game-winning field goal. The game goes into overtime, and in overtime, after SMU missed the kick, they missed the kick right at the end of regulation. They then missed the kick in overtime, and then Baylor got the ball back. They were in good range, obviously, taking over where they do in overtime. And here was the Connor Hawkins game-winning field goal on the Baylor Radio Network.
27-yard attempt for the win for Connor Hawkins and the Bears. Kicking from left to right. Good snap, good hold. The kick is good.
Let's go, Baylor!
Lands over SMU. In double overtime, Connor Hawkins, a 27-yard field goal. And the Bears win it over the Ponies today. 48-45, the final score.
And what a performance that was. It's almost indescribable, because if you were a Baylor fan, you're sitting there with 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter and you're down by 14, you're not thinking you're winning that game. And there was a while I felt really bad for the quarterback of Baylor and Sawyer Robertson, because to start the season, he has 859 yards passing and 7 touchdowns to no interceptions. And he also, when you look at it, he didn't have a rush touch on the year, but he has 7 passing touchdowns. So there could have been a world, and there probably should have been a world, where Sawyer Robertson, who started off the year 61 of 98 for 859 yards, 62.2 completion percentage, 7 touchdowns to no picks, there probably should have been a world where he was 0-2. So just what a horrible defeat for SMU, and then what an epic comeback by the Bears of Baylor. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. That's the number how you jump on in. I'm Zach Gelb. This is Sunday Morning Football. And then we get to Iowa State. If you were to write Iowa State, and it wasn't to win an Academy Award or an Oscar, whatever the awards are. Manny, do you know, aren't they both Oscars, Academy Award? Aren't they both for movies, right?
I think that's the same thing.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm. I remember that one year where they messed it up, right? The tallying and all that stuff.
Kind of like how you just messed it up.
Yeah, it's fine. See, when you mess up, let's just a little secret.
Go ahead.
When you mess up something, you just point out how somebody else messed up something.
Oh.
Because then they forget your boo-boo.
Expose himself?
Yeah. Jeez. I was like, where the heck did Perloff come in?
That's Angry Perloff after the targeting penalty.
Oh, my God. He was sitting there. See, you want to know when you lose a bet and you're in denial?
Mm-hmm.
When then you're tweeting about something where it's like, he was protesting the game.
I saw that tweet. You said he was tweeting angrily. I had to go onto his profile and check out those angry tweets. Yeah,
and I know they changed. I think it was back in like 2014 or 2015. But you take a look, they changed where if, yes, it is targeting and they review it and then it's not targeted, they take the flag off the board. So I didn't really understand the whole point by Perloff, but I do, because he had SMU minus the 3 points.
I will not recognize that as an SMU loss. Game under protest for me, sent by Andrew Perloff at 408.
Well, I'll tell you, DraftKings, by the way, you could use code GELB if you've never signed up before. Right when you do sign up, you deposit $5, you get $300. Please gamble responsibly. So I'll give them an extra pop. I'll tell you, my DraftKings recognized that game because I had Baylor plus the points. So Perloff, I don't know where you are, but use that code, baby. Maybe you win some money back today. Anyway, Iowa State, if you were designing how that game's supposed to look, it's what that game looked like yesterday. It's not to go win an Academy Award. See, we'll get it right the second time. It's not. That game's supposed to be sloppy. That game, when you're watching, you're supposed to say, oh, I think I'm going to blow them out. And then the next thing you know, oh, my goodness gracious, I'm going to lose. The right team won yesterday. Iowa State, I think, can win the Big 12. There was like 7 or 8 teams going into the season that you thought to yourself, okay, they could win the Big 12. You know, the SEC was open. The Big 10 was open going into this year. The Big 12, though, a lot of people said Arizona State, and I said, I'm going to take the field on that. So Iowa State, they have a quarterback, Rocco Becht, who, quite frankly, he should have had 2 passing touchdowns, and his receivers dropped both of them. One was in the end zone. One would have set up what probably would have been a touchdown. But that kid looks like a professional quarterback. And also, he's just a gamer. He's a winner, and he'll do whatever it takes to win. I understand you don't walk away from that game yesterday, and if you just look at the stats, you go, oh, wow, Rocco Becht played this incredible game. But if you're watching the game, you see the potential. You see the makeup, his father being Anthony Becht, and you see what that kid could potentially do. And I'm not saying he's going to be a top 10 pick in the draft, but I think he could be a late first-round pick. And he has an opportunity this year, if Iowa State makes the college football playoff, which they very well could do after beating Kansas State, South Dakota, Iowa to open up the season. Look at the way that Iowa State sets themselves up. Arkansas State, Arizona, Cincinnati, Colorado, BYU, Arizona State, TCU, Kansas, Oklahoma State. There is not a game on that schedule that you go in and you say, oh, Iowa State can't win or Iowa State won't win. Seriously, that is a schedule that's very favorable to the Cyclones with the way that they set themselves up. But their kicker's unbelievable. And I know a week ago or 2 weeks ago, he hit that 63-yard field goal. And now he lines up for like a 50-something yarder, and everyone goes, oh, yeah, he's just easily going to make it. So let's hear, and I know this one, and they were playing for that field goal at the end, and I don't think it was his longest kick of the day. But, you look at the kicks for Kyle, 44. Yeah, that was the one. That was the one where Gus Johnson, to start things off, he was like, oh, this is easy for him. A 44-yard field goal in college is never easy. Then he hit a 27, and then, yeah, actually, this was his longest one of the day. This was the game-winning one. This was 54 yards from Iowa State. This capped off a 13-play, 55-yard drive. And when you have a weapon like that and you know that he can connect from that distance, and I was getting him confused for a second with the USF. That was the distance-wise why I had a little flub on that, because I remember the USF kicker. That was a pretty short one to win the game, Grammatica. But here's Kyle Conradi hitting the game-winning field goal. This was from 54 yards out to secure a 16-13 victory as Iowa State, who's 16th in the country, they'll climb up the polls even further. They have started off the year 3-0. This is the Iowa State Radio Network.
Ball in the middle of the field. A 54-yard field goal attempt again by Kyle Conradi. Clausen to snap, Perkins to hold, kick on the way, a lone line drive, end over end, and it is good! Kyle Conradi's hit another 54-yarder against Iowa, and the Cyclones take a 16-13 lead.
And then finally, before we get to the update, I'm going to enjoy, and I hate laughing at this program because I like Arizona State, I like Sam Levitt, I like Kenny Dillingham, but I'm going to enjoy tomorrow when I get back into the studio on Monday and do my show Monday through Friday, the Zach Gelb Show right in the Infinity Sports Network. That's a cheap plug, 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern on many of these same stations, Sirius XM Channel 375, the Odyssey app, the iHeartRadio app, and also streaming live on YouTube. Samter last week after Arizona State got their victory to open up the season. He comes walking in up against North Arizona. He comes walking in with his Arizona State jersey because he's a huge Sun Devils fan. I can't wait to poke, I would say the bear, but it's more like a mouse. I can't wait to poke the mouse that is Michael Samter. Because when Arizona State wins that, takes that lead and they get that field goal on what was a 17-play drive for 95 yards and takes off 8 minutes and 54 seconds, you're thinking to yourself, all right, Arizona State is going to survive this game, and they hit that field goal. And then Mississippi State, they get the ball back, and they get the ball back in, I think there was a little under 90 seconds remaining. So it's not inconceivable down 3 that Mississippi State drives, to good range and they hit a field goal. But they didn't just hit a field goal. They hit a touchdown, and it ended up winning them the game because the 58-yard touchdown pass, it left only about 30 to 20 seconds left on the clock. So let's hear. This is Brennan Thompson. This is the 58-yard touchdown. This is on the Mississippi State Radio Network.
Chapin throws touchdown. Right side. Thompson catches it inside the numbers 20. Angling left 10. 5. Touchdown. Brennan Thompson. Wow. Davis-Wade Stadium explodes as the Bulldogs go back in front thanks to a bomb to Brennan.
And think about the range of emotions there. You're an Arizona State fan. You made the college football playoff last year. You're projected to finish last in the Big 12. You almost beat Texas. You probably should have beat Texas. You're down 17-0 in that game. Not only do you come back, you scored 20 unanswered, and then that's how you lose the game. Oh, Samter. The mighty mouse that is Samter. He is going to be livid tomorrow. Finally, here's Jeff Lebby on finding a way to win despite blowing that lead to Arizona State.
We're trending the right way, and we've got a ton of work to do but to find a way to win after all the things that happened inside that game, the way we started, then the things that happened in the second half, and then to get the ball back with no timeouts, down a field goal, and go right down the field and score. There's belief, man. And there's belief inside our walls. Our guys know what we're capable of. We've got to continue to play a lot better to go do what we want to do. But man, what an incredible night for our program.
So congratulations to Mississippi State. All righty, we'll take a break. We got one more segment for college football. Right when we get to 11, we'll go all things NFL. This is Sunday Morning Football. When we come on back, we'll take a little look at Clemson as they survived yesterday. We'll check in on one Alabama fan, and you don't want to miss this. Fran Brown went all Herb Brooks, by the way, after the game. Again. We'll tell you what he did. And also Mr. Mumbles, Bill Belichick. As a Patriot fan, Bill, I'm not upset, but I'm just disappointed with where the relationship has become between just Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick. We'll get into all that jackassery when we do return. This is Sunday Morning Football. Update time first. A man who's not a jackass. Here he is. He'll put that on his Instagram story. I know he will. The great Manny Rodriguez.
Infinity Sports Network. Sports Flash.
Thank you for the kind words, Zach. Progressive Commercial Insurance protects small businesses with affordable coverage options. Quote today at progressivecommercial.com. With kickoff approaching, we look at notes around the NFL. Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray has been added to the injury report with an illness, but he will have no game status designation and will start against the Saints today. Browns rookie running back Quinshon Judkins is slated to meet with the NFL this week about its investigation, but there is a real possibility that the former Ohio State running back makes his NFL debut next Sunday at the Ravens. Chiefs wide receiver Xavier Worthy suffered a dislocated shoulder during the team's Week 1 loss to the Chargers in Brazil. He will undergo more testing. 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey was a big part of walkthrough on Saturday for San Francisco. He is trending to play today against the Seahawks. The league continues to mull over disciplinary actions on Eagles defensive lineman Jalen Carter. Carter is expected to face a substantial fine and a possible suspension after spitting on Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott in Thursday night's win. A decision is expected on Monday. To college football, an upset at the Swamp.
20-yard field goal attempt from the middle of the field. Dramatica for the win, and there it is. 18-16 the final score, and the Bulls explode off the bench.
Courtesy of ESPN's SEC Network, Nico Gramatica, the son of Super Bowl champion Martin, stuns the Gators. The USF Bulls record their second win over a ranked opponent in as many weeks. USF 18, Florida 16. Two more college football upsets to mention. Number 12, Arizona State gets knocked off by Mississippi State 24-20. And number 17, SMU goes down at the hands of Baylor 48-45 in double OT. Baseball, Orioles, they were 1 out away from being no-hit by Yoshinobu Yamamoto until Jackson Holliday deposited one into the seats in right field. The first of 4 ninth-inning runs. From nearly getting no-hit to a walk-off win, the Orioles beat the Dodgers 4-3. I'm Manny Rodriguez.
The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. All you have to say is, play Infinity Sports Network. That's it. Play Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Sunday Morning Football with Zach Gelb.
Alrighty, welcome back in. It is Sunday Morning Football. There was a while yesterday where you said uh-oh with Florida and uh-oh with Clemson. Well, at the end of the game, you said uh-oh with Florida because they lost to USF. And if you're a Clemson fan, you go, whew, and you just move on to the next one, which is Georgia Tech, by the way, which is not going to be an easy game for them because I'm a big fan of Haynes King, their quarterback, as Georgia Tech has started off their season 2-0, as they had the opening game victory up against Colorado. Then the other day they beat Gardner-Webb 59-12. But you take a glance at Clemson, just surviving against Troy. I'm trying to figure out how good Clemson is because against LSU, Cade Klubnik and Dabo Swinney did not have a good showing, and that offense was horrendous. And I can't sit there and pretend as if I'm feeling great about Clemson after seeing what transpired up against Troy. Georgia Tech coming up next week, 6 days from now. That's a big one at noon Eastern, Clemson at Georgia Tech. Let's hear Dabo Swinney about falling behind a little bit early in this game before making the comeback.
What a weird day. I mean, just a crazy day, first of all. Appreciate our fans for hanging in there. I mean, crazy day, weather, craziness in the first half. But I really do appreciate our fans, just for hanging in there with us. When the guys needed it, they were there for them. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and you had a long weather delay in that game, and they were already down 7-0, and eventually they got going. So I don't think you'll walk away from that one saying, oh, wow, Clemson's this wonderful team. But they're a team that going into the year, a lot of people thought, including myself, they could win a national championship, which I haven't felt about Dabo Swinney in a few years. But after seeing what transpired the first 2 weeks of the season, they have a lot to prove for a team that's supposed to be very good this year. Fran Brown, who has changed the standard at Syracuse. Last time we saw Syracuse out there, they did lose to Tennessee on that neutral site game. But Tennessee's a great, not a great, but a good program with Josh Heupel. They beat UConn yesterday, 27-20. We're probably not talking about Syracuse and UConn if it was just, 27-20 game. But after the game, Fran Brown, he had his team running sprints, which I haven't seen a coach do since high school, probably. That's like a high school type of move. But I kind of like it with Fran Brown. He's showing his guys, don't feel too good just because of what happened last year. We lose to Tennessee and then you barely beat UConn. That was a wake-up call to his guys. And I know they play Colgate the next week, and then after that they play Clemson and Duke. And Clemson and Duke is really when their season gets started. No one thought they were going to beat Tennessee. Everyone thinks they were going to beat UConn and Colgate. They beat UConn, they'll probably beat Colgate. And then you get a 3-week stretch, actually. Oh, no, how about this stretch for them? They play Clemson, Duke, SMU, I think one of the more underrated teams in the country in Pitt. And then they're at Georgia Tech. That's a good schedule there for Syracuse. Then they play North Carolina, Miami, Notre Dame, and Boston College. So that's not easy. Hey, by the way, talking about UNC. UNC, week 1 was a disaster, 41 unanswered, after going up 7-0 against TCU that they allowed. They beat Charlotte 20-3, then they play Richmond. So Bill Belichick's going to, probably go 2-1 to start his college football career. But there's this whole story that Belichick isn't allowing the Patriot scouts into his facility. And this is what Bill Belichick had to say about that story after the game.
I'm curious, and this is away from the game, but we haven't heard from you yet on this. Obviously, reports this week of New England Patriot scouts being banned from practice. Just wanted to give you the opportunity to comment on that and provide some sort of explanation on that.
Yeah, well, no, it's clear that I'm not welcome there around their facility, and so I'm welcome in ours. Very simple.
Robert Kraft wasn't wrong in firing Bill Belichick. He was wrong for basically the hit piece in that documentary that he did and preventing him from getting the Atlanta Falcons job. So I understand why Bill Belichick despises Robert Kraft right now, but with how much success that you guys had, it's such a shame that the relationship's at this point. And also, Bill, you're a college football coach right now. Those scouts, I know you don't have many NFL players on your college team right now, or guys that could be NFL players. It doesn't look that way. But those scouts could draft your kids. So you got to put your ego aside and do what's right for your kids that you're coaching. And finally, I know it was bad for Alabama in week 1. They won week 2, but no one's really going to care about Alabama football again until they play Georgia. Here was Alabama fan Susie Connerly if she won the Powerball, what she would do.
I'll tell you exactly what I'd do with the first $70 million. I'd pay off Kalen DeBoer and get him the heck out of the University of Alabama, and then I'd take whatever else it took to get rid of the AD.
I like Kalen DeBoer. I do. That Georgia game he has to win coming up at the end of the month. But even if he wins it, people are going to say you won it last year. You didn't make the college football playoff. We're getting to NFL next. Sunday Morning Football. I'm Zach Gill.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Biggest plays the day before in college football.
Jeanty, his first touch. And typical Ashton Jeanty. Look at him go! You can't bring him down!
To getting you ready for all the mayhem that comes your way every NFL Sunday.
It's intercepted at the 40. And picked off by DeGene, who comes to the near side, the 30. Got a block at the 20, breaks a tackle, the 10, the 5, to the pylon. Touchdown!
This is Sunday Morning Football. And here is your host, Zach Gill.
All righty, welcome on in. Hour number 2 of our radio program. That is right. Zach Gelb here with you. We are back. Sunday morning football. I sounded like Stu Feiner right there. We're back. Listen. Ready to roll. Ready to roll. Love my guys, Stu. So we've been on the air since 10 a.m. Obviously, if you've tuned in to Sunday morning football before, you know 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. we do all things college football. Once it gets to 11 o'clock, we are NFL, NFL, NFL. Ryan Horvat's going to join me each and every Sunday coming up at 11:20 a.m. Eastern time. We'll take you around the gambling world and try to win you some money on our first NFL Sunday in the year of 2025. For this football season. Can't wait for it. Full week today, and it's going to be awesome. It already started on Thursday, then it got to Friday. We got football on Sunday, and you got football coming up tomorrow as well with the Vikings and the Bears. Here are your 1 o'clock games today. Buccaneers and Falcons, Bengals and Browns, Dolphins and Colts, Raiders and the Patriots, Cardinals and the Saints, Steelers and the Jets, Giants and the Commanders, Panthers and the Jaguars. Some solid 1 o'clock games. But if you had to say, okay, I could only make the 1 o'clock window or the 4 o'clock window. Let's say your wife or your husband is making you do some things and you can't be watching all things NFL today. Pick the 4 o'clock window today. Cam Ward going up against the Denver Broncos and Bo Nix. The 49ers going up against the Seattle Seahawks. The Lions going up against the Green Bay Packers, the debut of Micah Parsons in a Packers uniform. And then you get the Texans and the Rams. That's an elite. For the first week of football, that is an elite 4:20, 4 o'clock window that we do have coming up later today. And then the 8:20 game, Sunday Night Football on NBC, yeah, is the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. But I was in Philly to start off the football season. I did my weekday show at Sports Radio 94 WIP. And that was on Thursday night. And I was doing some stuff as well for Compass Media Networks and a part of their Cowboys coverage for 6 or 7 games this season. And when they had that delay, I was rapping with Brian Baldinger, little Baldy breakdowns that we were doing live on Compass Media Networks for their live coverage of Dallas Cowboys football. But that game, it's still surreal to me that Jalen Carter elected to spit on Dak Prescott. You open up the NFL season with an injury to a fullback, which was horrible, and it's a torn patella tendon to the Eagles fullback. And then, right as the first play from the line of scrimmage is about to happen, right? There's an ejection. And I think we all saw it where, okay, Jalen Carter, the ball's marked down, ball spotted down. Jalen Carter is 3 yards past where that ball is. And I gather that he was trying to intimidate or talk smack. Who knows? But he was going after, right, the Cowboys. And Dak Prescott, I know I talked to him after the game, and he said, oh, you know, I spit like 100 times during a game. I just had to spit, and I was in my huddle, and I wasn't going to spit on my lineman, so I just stepped out of the huddle, and then Jalen Carter thought I spat in his direction. I think what he did there was he was kind of marking his territory, Dak. It was like a warning shot. He wasn't spitting at him, but he was spitting in the direction of him. And it was, dude, back off of our huddle and stop what you're doing right now, because we're not going to tolerate this throughout the whole game. Well, Jalen Carter, because he's his own worst enemy, he elected to fire back and spit right on Dak Prescott. And then as the game's going on, you get that alternate angle from NBC that shows, it was actually Dak who did spit first. So when I saw it in the moment, before we knew Dak did spit first, when I saw it in the moment, I said to myself, Jalen Carter's going to be out next week. I know people talk about Bill Romanowski and Terrell Owens. There's no precedent in the NFL. The NFL, if you haven't realized this now, folks, they make it up as they go. But when I saw that Jalen Carter elected to spit on Dak Prescott, isolated spot, NBC, you're kicking off the football season, I thought to myself, okay, he's going to be suspended for next week. But then as the game goes on and you see the spit occur by Dak Prescott, even though he didn't hit Jalen Carter, I go, okay, Jalen's definitely going to get a fine. Dak may get fined. And if Dak does get fined, Jalen will get the larger fine. I don't think as we sit here today, Dak Prescott's going to get any punitive action. And this is probably going to be all Jalen Carter, and there's a chance he still gets suspended. Because I heard Adam Schefter this morning say, at the very least, Jalen Carter will face a substantial fine, and he could also be suspended. That's what sources told Adam Schefter at ESPN. A decision by the NFL is expected Monday, according to sources, as Eagles return to work and get ready for a Super Bowl rematch in Kansas City next Sunday against the Chiefs. And you know what? If you're an Eagles fan and you go, oh, but Dak spit first. Oh, you spit first. Jalen Carter, they're just making him out to be a victim. Stop it. Your guy spit on the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. You know, hypothetically, I would like to think I wouldn't do this. But let's say if Nico was trying to intimidate me and Nico was just barking at me. Nico would be like a little chihuahua, by the way, barking at me. But let's say he was barking at me. And I just issued, like I hocked a loogie in his direction, but I didn't hit him. Let's say it was like 4 yards away from him. Yeah, I would expect Nico to get in my face. Just like how I expected Jalen Carter to get in the face of Dak Prescott. But if Nico then hocked a loogie back in my face and it hit me, like, I'm sorry, folks. You get what you deserve. Like, don't be an idiot. And Jalen Carter was an idiot on Thursday night. So that's how we started off the season. We started off the season with Spitgate. Oh, my goodness gracious. You can't even believe that. Now, the Eagles ended up winning the game. I was still impressed with Dallas, though. I walked into this season with very low expectations for Dallas because a week ago they traded Micah Parsons. I thought Brian Schottenheimer looked like a professional head coach. Dak Prescott played well. CeeDee Lamb's got to catch the ball. That's the bottom line. CeeDee Lamb has to catch the ball. Now, we go to Friday, and then we'll get into some of these games on Sunday that will happen at 1 p.m. Eastern time when we have our first NFL Sunday, full Sunday slate of the season. But on Friday night, you know, there's been a lot of Kansas City Chief bashing this offseason. Not from me, but from other people. Here's my message. And I've been there where my team for 20 years was in the penthouse, and every time they lost, they start to write the obituary. I understand the Chiefs have been vulnerable the last few years. They've been vulnerable, and they've still been to 3 straight Super Bowls. They've been vulnerable, and they still won 2 out of the last 3 Super Bowls. So did it look good on Friday night? No. Did you like to see towards the end of the game Drew Tranquill and Chris Jones getting into it? No. Patrick Mahomes at times still didn't even feel great about Travis Kelce. Like, he was annoyed with Travis Kelce because Travis Kelce stopped running on what could have been a completion and maybe could have been a touchdown. But with that being said, you look at Kansas City, that game wasn't really important to them. It's just the truth of the situation. That game meant everything to the Chargers. That game meant everything to Justin Herbert. Here you are, Jim Harbaugh. Who's got it better than us? Nobody. And Jim Harbaugh, second year after coming off a playoff appearance, you got to start winning these big games. And the Chargers did that on Friday night in Brazil. And Justin Herbert was surgically good. 25 of 34, 318 yards, and 3 passing touchdowns in the contest. He was brilliant. So we could sit here and we could panic about the Chiefs, and they could lose next week to the Eagles. They could beat the Giants, and they should beat the Giants, and then they play the Ravens, and they could lose. Like, they could start the season off 1-3. I'm not going to hit the panic meter yet because the Kansas City Chiefs finally lost to the Chargers, and Justin Herbert finally played well in a big game. Game meant everything to the Chargers. In reality, game meant very little to the Kansas City Chiefs, but that's going to be something to monitor because when you lose a game and you are the team that everyone's hunting, people like to write your obituary. All righty, today, it's weird. I will say this. The biggest game, if you say, Zach, you could only watch one game today, I would say, okay, I got to watch the Ravens at the Bills. That's the biggest game. You have Josh Allen. You have Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson won 2 MVPs. Josh Allen won an MVP last year. They played in the playoffs last year. The Bills have 2 victories up against the Ravens in the playoffs. We know Mark Andrews dropped the 2-point conversion last year. With that being said, though, this game, from a viewership standpoint, it's the one you want to watch. But I'll just ask you one simple question. What does this game really mean? Because if you're the Baltimore Ravens and you win, sure, you beat the Buffalo Bills. You know what I would say if you're the Ravens and you win this game? and let's say you're then putting the flag in the ground so that the Ravens are going to be going to the Super Bowl. Well, in the postseason, have you ever defeated Buffalo? No, you lost to them twice in the Josh Allen era. One was the Taron Johnson interception when Lamar also got concussed, and then last year we know that the Ravens lost. And then I would also say, okay, even if you think you climbed the Buffalo mountain, well, you then still have to climb the Kansas City Chiefs mountain. And then if Buffalo wins, I'll simply say to them, all right, you've already displayed that you could beat the Baltimore Ravens. We already know that. But can you beat Kansas City? So I understand, right, every Tom, Dick, and Harry that does this for a living, huge game tonight to open up the season. Massive game. Unbelievable. Phenomenal. Yeah, I get it. I just said, and let me be abundantly clear here, if you give me one game I could watch today, and thankfully I'm not in a position where I can only watch one game, right? I'll tell you. I got my setup, the 3 TVs in my living room. My ass is going to be parked on my couch starting at 12:30. If it's not pouring when I get out of here, I'm going to walk home, 30-minute walk home, and then I will sit on the couch, and I'm going to have all the games on. Right? You get like 5-6 games on a screen. I'll still be watching Scott Hanson. I will be. Everyone's freaking out. Oh, there's commercials on Red Zone now. It's like 4 commercials, and they're going to a split box. Do you know how stupid you people sound? Seriously. Oh, they're rooting Red Zone. Wah! Like, what? And people, oh, this is just the start. But what do you think? Like, I'm sorry. The NFL's greedy. ESPN is greedy. We're all greedy. The fact that you got that many commercial-free years without anything is unbelievable to begin with. So you're really going to care when it's the second quarter of, let's say, Raiders and Patriots or Tampa Bay and Atlanta, and when they have one of those games on, that they go to a split screen and you see a commercial? And you know what? I wonder if you're advertising those products, if you're going to be thrilled with the commercial today. Because you're going to have so many losers that are going to sit there and they're going to be bashing your company for paying for an ad that's going to be on your screen for, what, 10 or 15 seconds? Now, I sometimes say there's no such thing as bad publicity, right? At least they'll be talking about your product. Or if you just do a generic ad, no one's going to talk about it maybe. But I do wonder if the advertisers are like, oh, we're going to get slammed today. The company, we're going to get slammed today because people are being so absurd with this Red Zone thing. Nico, you're like looking and smiling at me. Are you one of those idiots that are freaking out that they're going to put commercials up on Red Zone? Like 4 or 5 of them throughout the game? Are you freaking out? Your microphone's not on. I can't hear you for some reason. Still can't hear you. Are you one of those idiots? No. That are now you guys are playing me on Red Zone. No, you're playing me. You're playing me. I don't know. Okay, whatever. We don't really. I guess we don't need to hear Nico's opinion. Oh, I hear your mic.
How about now?
Yeah, go ahead.
There we go.
Hey, we're looking like the Chiefs the other night right now, folks. All right, geez. Are you freaking out about Red Zone?
I am very bothered by it.
Oh, my God, loser.
But I understand that. Oh, okay. Once they said that it was going to be the split screen thing like you're talking about, I was okay with it. But originally when I heard that there were going to be commercials, I was very much against that. I mean, Scott Hanson's Open is literally 7 hours of commercial-free football.
So it changes. He's not going to say that anymore. And also, I love Scott Hanson. I do. He joined me on the show the other day. Why does everyone now need to issue an emotional video when people bitch about things? Ryan Clark's the king of them, right? And Ryan Clark got in his own little kerfuffle the other day with Peter Schrager, and he looked like the buffoon, if I'm just being honest. But Scott Hanson, there's an emotional video. Oh, I'm just the guy behind the desk. I'm not in charge of the business. Guys, no one's going to care about this by tomorrow. How is this going to change your life? It's not. You're still going to see all the touchdowns. It's still going to be there. And there's going to be a little ad. 4 or 5 of them throughout the game for about 10 to 15 seconds. And you're losing your mind over this?
If I'm being honest, too, usually when I watch Red Zone, the Giants are on the big TV with Red Zone not even having any volume on. So.
And you know what they do during the Giants game? They take a lot of commercials. They do. You're not going to miss any of the football. So everyone's got to just relax a little bit. All righty, out of the 1 o'clock games today, Tampa Bay at Atlanta, I think there's a ton of pressure on Raheem Morris. Cincinnati at Cleveland, the Bengals, they have to start off quickly. Miami at the Colts, Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill. I know you guys have all been complaining all offseason, and it's been Tyreek's fault. You can't lose to Daniel Jones. You can, but you can't. Raiders at the Patriots. I'm curious to see the Ashton Genty factor, and also Mike Vrabel. There's some high expectations there. Arizona at the Saints, 1 o'clock game. The quarterback play. Kyler Murray's dealing with an illness. He's still going to play. But with that being said, Spencer Rattler's going to start for the Saints. That's a 5.5-point spread. It's weird to say week 1 is a must-win, but it does feel like it's a must-win for the Arizona Cardinals today. But that's going to be a survivor pool pick. I'm going to stay away from that. I picked the Eagles on Thursday, winner. Close, but a winner. And I'm taking the Bengals today, so hopefully the Bengals don't. I have 2 survivor entries. Hopefully the Bengals don't screw me for a second year in a row. But that's a game that Arizona, you just can't lose. You get the return of Aaron Rodgers to MetLife Stadium. To me, that's not that big of a deal. Ugly relationship at the end. I know Aaron Glenn and Aaron Rodgers don't like one another. I don't have high expectations for the Jets this year. Some people are like, oh, the Jets, they could be like a 7 or 8 win team. I just don't see it. And that's a game that Aaron has to win. And then the Giants at the Commanders, year 2 of Jaden Daniels. Will there be any regression? And then also, how about the quarterback matchup today? Carolina at the Jaguars. That'd be an early test for both those guys. Bryce Young restored his image last year. Now, to be fair, I'm not going to sit here and say he's a good quarterback yet. It's a big year 3 for Bryce Young. On the other side, though, you have Mr. Duval in Liam Cohen with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Trevor Lawrence, he's got to get going. Because we're going to start to throw that B word around with Trevor Lawrence. Bust if he doesn't have a good season this year. So that's the 1 o'clock window today. All righty, we'll come on back. We will go around the league, and we will get a little betting update. We'll get some selections from Ryan Horvat. He does a great job with BetMGM tonight. This is Zach Gelb, and this is Sunday Morning Football.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Sunday Morning Football with Zach Gelb.
Oh, I miss this guy. Ryan Horvat, BetMGM tonight, does a phenomenal job. He'll join us each and every week on Sunday Morning Football right at 11:20 a.m. Eastern Time for his betting analysis. Ryan, how are you? Happy football season to you and yours.
Zach, doing great, man. This is the day we all wait for. This is like Christmas morning. Although, man, the first 3 weeks, I guess, of college football have been terrific. And the first two standalone games on Thursday and Friday night lived up to the hype. So now I'm excited for all these games today, especially Zach is a Green Bay Packer fan because Micah Parsons, a member of my squad now.
Yeah, we'll get to Micah and the Pack in just a bit, but we also know that you are a mega fan of one Aaron Rodgers. I sometimes call you an Aaron Rodgers apologist. So I have to just get your insight. Steelers and Jets today. Steelers are a 2.5-point favorite. Now Aaron Rodgers on another team. Left your Packers, got traded to the Jets, now is on the Steelers. Does old man Rodgers walking into the neighborhood today up against the Jets' his old stomping grounds? Do they find a way to get a victory, the Steelers, and cover the spread?
All right, so usually if I'm going to bet on Aaron Rodgers, especially at this stage of his career, I want to bet on him when he has a chip on his shoulder, when he wants revenge. Why, a couple of years ago, I bet him to win the MVP after the Packers drafted Jordan Love in the first round. But now, he's pushing 41 years old. I'm a little bit worried about Pittsburgh's offensive line, especially run blocking, man. They couldn't get the ground game going in the preseason. So if I had to bet this game, at 2.5, I like the Steelers. I could see them winning this game by exactly a field goal. But at 3, or if you could get 3.5, Zach, I like the Jets. At BetMGM right now, you could still get the Jets +3, -110. It's the lowest total of the week, 38. I think the Jets defense bounces back this year. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. And I think the Jets are going to be improved this year, even without Aaron Rodgers. They're going to be more of a run-first offense. I think they're going to use Braylon Allen. They're going to use Breece Hall a little bit. Justin Fields is going to use his legs. It's also a revenge game we got to remember for Justin Fields. He was playing pretty good football, and they had a winning record when he was benched last year for Russell Wilson. So at +3, I actually kind of like the Jets to keep this game close. I really like the under, even though it's the lowest total of the week. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. I say like 17-14 Jets win.
Another game that it's a fishy line, but I think I'm going to take it. And if I get burned, I get burned. Bengals and Browns. The Bengals have been a 5.5-point favorite. It's now down to 4.5. I know it was 4.5 early in the week before it did go up. Is that too good to be true? I know the Bengals start slow, but don't they got to win and cover the 4.5 points today?
So history tells you bet against the Bengals week 1. Last year, they were everybody's survivor pick. I don't know if you remember this. I think they closed at 8.5 to 9.5 point favorites, and they lose outright to the Patriots, who started Jacoby Brissett behind a terrible offensive line. But I'm with you, Zach, especially now that it went from 5.5 to 4.5. I was texting my buddy Joe Ostrowski from Bet Sweats about this because I'm in a survivor pool league, and I actually went with the Bengals. I said, I dare them to do it to me again this year, man, because I know they're the most public bet today, but the Browns are going to be no good this year. And I know they've had Joe Burrow's number. They've covered against him nonstop. But I like what the Bengals did this preseason. They don't want to start slow. They can't afford to start slow. So Zach Taylor, even though I think he's a crazy person for doing so, played the starters a bunch. I'm really high on Chase Brown this year. I think he gets in the end zone today. Jamar Chase is still the best receiver in the league. The only concern about the Bengals is the defensive side of the ball, but I really like the Al Golden hire. As a Notre Dame fan, man, I'm a big fan of his. They get the deal done with Trey Hendrickson. So even though we're with the public, I like the Bengals today. I used them in Survivor. I think they get off to a faster start this year, and I don't think the defense will be as bad as everybody projects. So I'm with you on Cincy today.
I'll tell you one game. I did not give it out as one of my 3 picks on my show this week. I ended up going the Bengals laying 4.5 or 5.5, whatever it was. I did take the Dolphins plus 1.5, and then I made one more pick as well. Oh, I had the 49ers laying 1.5. But I'll tell you a game that I woke up today and I just absolutely love. And it's ironic coming from me because the last few weeks I have bashed this franchise a lot. Buccaneers and Falcons. I kind of love the Falcons today outright, and I kind of like them plus 1.5. Your thoughts?
Let's go. We're on the same side here. So Atlanta's my biggest bet today, Zach. So I bet them at 2.5. I think they win this game outright by at least a field goal. They always play Tampa tough. If you look at the last 3 seasons, obviously divisional games, so they see them twice a year. They're 5-1 against the spread, in their last 6 games. And I feel good about that offense with Michael Penix behind center. I know it was a little shaky, the reports out of camp. But if you look at the 3-game sample size, Drake London's numbers went up. Bijan Robinson's numbers went up. Maybe we even get a Kyle Pitts sighting for the first time in a long time. Atlanta, their issue has been their pass rush. Last year, they were 30th in pass rush grade. But I like their draft. Even if James Pierce Jr. is a little undersized and they had to trade back into the first round and reach for him, I like him. I actually took a stab on him to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, the way that he balled out in the preseason. I think Jalen Walker will eventually become a player. And now's the time to get Tampa. I'm taking Atlanta to win the division. I think Tampa takes a step back. A ton of injuries already. Tristan Wirfs is beat up. Chris Godwin's going to miss the start of the season. I think they take a step back, losing Liam Cohen as offensive coordinator. So I'm with you on Atlanta, man. If they don't win 10 games this year, I don't think it's going to happen. They might be looking for a new head coach.
Ryan Horvat, BetMGM tonight here with us, Zach Gelb, Sunday Morning Football. I'm surrounded by Giants fans right now. Nico is wearing a Lawrence Taylor jersey. I know Manny is a Giant fan, even though he likes the Bills as well. Ray's shaking his head, so I think Ray's a Giant fan as well. Tiki Barber's down the hall. Obviously, he played for the Giants. Giants are playing the Commanders today. So I'm not just saying this because I'm intimidated by these Giants fans. I don't want to bet this game, but if you made me bet this game, I think the Commanders win, but the Giants cover the spread of 6.5 points. Your thoughts?
I woke up mad, man, because I thought my hot take when I came on today, I think the Giants are going to win this game outright, and I also think they're going to go over their win total of 5.5. Let me make the case for the Giants because everybody on our network is betting the under. People are betting them to have the worst record in the league. I don't know what they're going to do with the quarterback position. This whole Jackson Dart package thing worries me a little bit because I think Russ Wilson could have a decent year, and I don't like Russ Wilson. I do think he's kind of corny, but I mean, he could still throw the deep ball. They have talent. They have Malik Neighbors. I really like Tyrone Tracy, but what I really like about the Giants, I'm a Brian Daboll guy. I want him to keep this job. I like Mike Kafka. But the defensive side of the ball, they could legit have a top 5 defense, and nobody's talking about it, especially that defensive line, that pass rush. Abdul Carter, whatever he was wearing last week, I have no clue, but he's an absolute stud, man. They're going to be able to rotate their pass rushers. I think they're going to be better than people expect, and I think the Commanders take a step back. I love Jaden Daniels, right? But I think the defense takes a step back. They got some aging players. Are you going to get the same year from Bobby Wagner and Zach Ertz? I like Debo 3 years ago. What has he got left in the tank? Terry McLaurin, I bet him under 4.5 receptions today. He hasn't been at camp. He was a hold in. So I actually like the Giants to cover and maybe even win outright. But then I saw it's the number 2 public bet that the public likes the Giants. And that scares me a little bit, man. But I'm with you. I like the Giants. I think that they're going to be sneaky this year. I don't know that they're going to be good, but I think they're going to be sneaky. And I think the Commanders take a step back and maybe even miss out on the playoffs this year.
Ryan Horvat here with us for a few more moments. BetMGM tonight. This is Zach Gelb, Sunday Morning Football. The Titans and Broncos, 8.5 point favorite are the Broncos. At first, I would say, that's probably too many points. Doesn't this feel like it's going to be a 23-20 type of game? But when the spread's that big, I'm usually more inclined to lay the number. What are your thoughts there? Is that too many points for Sean Payton and one Bo Nix?
It's not officially NFL season until I lose money betting Tennessee, so I can only bet the Titans in this spot. Now, the Titans won like every box score last year, the first 8 weeks of the season. The issue was Will Levis would have a back-breaking turnover, and then he would become a meme. His face would be in the dirt or his legs would be up in the air.
It was like Carson Wentz 2.0, honestly, when I was watching Will Levis at times last year.
Yeah, exactly. So I got a couple bets in this, man. I did not touch the side. If I were to, I was thinking about the Broncos in Survivor, but they're the number 1 entry, so that scares me. It reminds me of Cincy last year. But I can't make the case for Tennessee with a rookie quarterback going against that defense. The Broncos should have the best defense in the league. I love pretty much everything that they did this offseason, man. But I could see Bo Nix taking a step back. He's a top 7 fantasy quarterback. I'm not ready to go that high on him. I did bet Cam Ward to throw an interception, even though it's minus 170. You could parlay that with Pat Bryant over 11.5 receiving yards. I know he's only a rookie out of Illinois. He even said it, man. You got to block to get the rock. Sean Payton's going to want to pound the ball. And they traded away Vele a couple weeks ago, so I think he's going to get more action in 2 wide receiver sets. I like Pat Bryant over 11.5 receiving yards and Cam Ward in his first game to throw an interception, going against that secondary that features the best corner in the league in Pat Surtain.
Wrapping up with Ryan Horvat. All right, let's get to your boys, Lions and Packers. I'll just say this. Green Bay gets Micah Parsons. They become such a sexy pick now. I do think they're a bona fide Super Bowl contender. But I'm going to hear how the Lions have a new offensive coordinator. They have a new defensive coordinator. Right? They lost Aaron Glenn. They lost boy wonder in Ben Johnson. Everyone's going to pick the Packers today. I'm inclined to take the Lions. Where do you lean? Packers 1.5 point favorite, 47.5 is the total number.
So what's funny, man, is I bet the Packers as 2-point dogs like a month ago because I thought Detroit would take a step back. It's not just losing the coordinators, more outdoor games for Jared Goff this year. For Detroit, I think the secondary is going to be solid. I worry about their pass rush. Last year, they couldn't get a pass rush with Aiden Hutchinson on the field, and he led the league in pressures. He was the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year. When he got hurt, the pass rush fell off a cliff. I don't trust Marcus Davenport on the other edge. And Hutchinson's just coming back from a broken leg. So we'll see what he looks like. I feel like the market overreacted here. So if I had to bet the game now, it would only be Detroit, right? Micah Parsons is a great player, but he's got a back injury. He's going to have to get an epidural just to play in this game. So current price, I would probably bet Detroit. I think it's a little bit of an overreaction. They should still win 10, 11 games this season. Even if they take a step back, man, they won 15 games last year. But what I really like, Zach, today is the under. The number 1 public total bet is the over. I think both defenses are actually going to be a little bit better. I know I just got done ragging on the Lions, but what I like about the Packers defense, if you could find a season-long sack prop for Rashawn Gary, everybody's going to talk about Micah Parsons and bet him to win Defensive Player of the Year. He's going to see a ton of double teams and chips. I think Rashawn Gary is finally going to live up to his potential and have a double-digit sack season. So I do think Green Bay wins, but now that you're not getting them as 2.5 point dogs, I'd probably bet Detroit, and that I love the under, though, today at 47.5.
Texans and Rams. This is a phenomenal game. I feel like no one's been talking about it this week. LA, a 3.5 point favorite at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, and the over-under is 43.5. Don't feel like there would be a lot of points in this one today, right?
Yeah, I kind of like the over here, and I might bet this live. I kind of like the Texans. Everybody's making the case for the Rams. I'm worried about Matthew Stafford and that back, especially Matthew Stafford with that offensive line going against this pass rush. People are going to talk about, the Texans' offensive line struggles, and Joe Mixon's out for the first couple weeks. So what do they have left from Nick Chubb? So that's why I bet C.J. Stroud today over 30.5 pass attempts. I don't think they're going to be able to get the ground game going, but the reason that I lean Texans in the over here is I think they can make life a living hell for Matthew Stafford. I bet Will Anderson to win Defensive Player of the Year at 16-1. On the other side of him, you have Danielle Hunter. So I actually kind of like Houston a little bit in this game, but I'm with you, man. I think there's going to be a ton of points. I like the over.
All righty. Last thing I'll ask you before we get to our anytime touchdowns. Ravens and Bills, Ryan Horvat. Do you think the spread's right here? The Bills are home. Last season at Highmark Stadium, I still call it Ralph Wilson Stadium. But the spread is Baltimore's laying 1.5. Is that the right number to you, in your opinion?
I think so, right? And I actually like the Bills. They're my pick in the AFC. I got the Bills winning the Super Bowl over the San Francisco 49ers this year. But tonight, I like the Baltimore Ravens in a revenge game. I think the spread's about right? On paper, the Ravens look like a perfect football team. Although I wish they had like a go-to guy in the wide receiver room. But I think that defense is going to be electric again this year, especially with the addition of Jair Alexander. So I like Baltimore tonight, but what I like a little bit more, Mark Andrews, anytime touchdown, plus 220. No redemption. Isaiah Likely. It would get the revenge game. Remember, he had that drop in the 27-25 divisional round loss to the Bills. Didn't even talk to the media after. I think they get him in the end zone, man. And he had 11 touchdowns last year. So getting plus 220 on that, I think, is a crazy price. Let's go Mark Andrews, anytime touchdown. If I had to play the game, I would play the Ravens. Sometimes in a game like this, though, what I'll do, man, is just wait. If it's a pick, get somebody plus 7 or plus 4.5. Get a key number over a field goal or over a touchdown because somebody's going to go down early, right? Like Baltimore could be down 10-0, and then you're getting a better number on them. The Bills could go down 10-0 at home, and then you're getting them plus 3.5. I like to bet these games live sometimes a little bit more.
All righty. Anytime touchdowns. Usually pretty good at these. Give me a few today. Who do you really like outside of Mark Andrews?
All right, here's a couple to throw in a parlay because I think the prices have all went up on these, and rightfully so. So I'm going to go Bijan Robinson, whatever we're calling him nowadays, against Tampa Bay. He's getting in the end zone. I like Tank Bigsby to get in the end zone against the Carolina Panthers. Last year, the Panthers' run defense was historically bad. I don't think it's going to be much better. And I love the way that Liam Cohen used his backs in Tampa. I think Tank's actually going to be the guy, not ETN. He's going to be more of the receiving back. So we got Bijan. We got Tank Bigsby. Like I said, we got to go with Chase Brown against the Cleveland Browns. I think Chase Brown out of Illinois is going to have a monster season. Joe Burrow keeps singling him out when he talks about him. Jonathan Taylor, we got to go with Jonathan Taylor against the Dolphins because the Colts are starting Daniel Jones at quarterback. I do like Josh Downs over 4.5 receptions today if you could grab that, but I do think Jonathan Taylor gets in the end zone. And then we got to go with, I know he's only a rookie, but Ashton Genty against the Patriots. I think he's going to have a historic rookie season, and I also like the Raiders in the game plus 2.5. And then I know that there were some concerns about the injury, man, but I think McCaffrey's going to go off this year. I bet him 16-1 to win Offensive Player of the Year. So I like him to get in the end zone against Seattle, but I love Kenneth Walker to get in the end zone against that Niners run defense. I know he's been beat up this summer, but the Niners in the preseason, second most missed tackles. I do think Robert Saleh will get the defensive side of the ball fixed up by the second half of the season. But today, going against that zone run game with Clint Kubiak calling plays, I love Kenneth Walker to get in the end zone and McCaffrey in that game. So you put all those together, I think you're probably getting better than like a 30-1 touchdown parlay price.
Well, there you go. Let's get him. Winner, 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 winner. He is Ryan Horvat. Ryan, always appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Zach, thanks so much, man. Let's do it again next week.
You got it. We'll talk to Ryan Horvat each and every football Sunday right at 11:20 a.m. Eastern time, and he will give you a comprehensive breakdown for all the games on Sunday. There are a lot of the games on Sunday and how to bet them. My predictions this year, by the way. Bills will win the East. Ravens win the North. Texans win the South. Chiefs win the West. My wild card teams, Broncos, Bengals, Chargers. My AFC champion, I know they're 0-1. I did take the Kansas City Chiefs. In the NFC, I took the Eagles. I took the Minnesota Vikings to win the North. I took the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win the South. I took the San Francisco 49ers to win the West. My wild card teams, Lions, Packers, Rams. And then my Super Bowl prediction, Chiefs and Vikings. I'm in on J.J. McCarthy, and I'm going with the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. MVP, Joe Burrow. Offensive Player of the Year, Justin Jefferson. Defensive Player of the Year, Max Crosby. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Ashton Genty. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Abdul Carter. Coach of the Year, Kevin O'Connell. Comeback Player of the Year, Aiden Hutchinson. Since we're a fan of the big fellas on this show, the Protector of the Year, Deion Dawkins. So I have Chiefs 27, Vikings 24, Super Bowl MVP, Patrick Mahomes. All righty, update time. We'll come on back. We'll give you one last thought on each and every game today. Update time first. Here he is, Manny Rodriguez.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
All right, Zach, we're sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting your business vehicles 24/7. See if you can save at progressivecommercial.com. We'll start in the NFL with Elijah Vera Tucker done for the season before it begins due to a triceps injury. The Jets are forced to do some musical chairs with their offensive line. Reports say New York will start Josh Myers at center with Joe Tippmann starting at guard as they get set to host their old friend Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The aforementioned Jets O-line will line up against Cam Hayward. Hayward's status for the game was up in the air due to a contract dispute, but the two sides agreed on a rework deal that includes $3 million in incentives last night. According to ESPN, 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey is good to go today against the Seahawks. McCaffrey was added to the injury report with a calf issue on Thursday. Browns rookie running back Quinshon Judkins is slated to meet with the NFL this week about its investigation, but there is a real possibility that the former Ohio State star makes his NFL debut next Sunday at the Ravens. Chiefs wide receiver Xavier Worthy, he suffered a dislocated shoulder during the team's Week 1 loss to the Chargers in Brazil. He will undergo more testing. College football, 3 ranked teams go down to unranked teams. USF beats Florida 18-16. Mississippi State defeats Arizona State 24-20. And Baylor knocks off SMU 48-45 in double OT. To the diamond, Yoshinobu Yamamoto was 1 out away from tossing a no-hitter against the Orioles. Then disaster struck for the Dodgers.
The pitch. Swing and a fly ball hit well. Right field. Going back is Hernandez, and it is off the top part of the wall. Is it in play? Yes, it is. Going to second base is Halladay. Now they're going to call it a home run. Jackson Halladay with 1 swing. The no-hitter is gone. The shutout is gone. And Yamamoto surrenders the home run with only 1 out left to get.
Orioles Radio Network, that was the first of 4 ninth-inning runs for the Orioles, from 1 out away from being no-hit to a walk-off win. Orioles 4, Dodgers 3, the final score. I'm Manny Rodriguez.
And he's wearing an ugly Penn State shirt.
No, that's not necessary.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Check out our new and improved website at infinitysportsnet.com. That's infinitysportsnet.com.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Sunday Morning Football with Zach Gelb.
All righty, we got 5 minutes to go. We'll whip around the action real quickly and give you a thought in every game. Gridiron Game Day, by the way, is coming up at noon Eastern right here. That is the 8-hour studio coverage. They take you from stadium to stadium right on the Infinity Sports Network. Anthony Gallo is going to be hosting this year. Gridiron Game Day. Buccaneers and Falcons. My first thought, Raheem Morris, a lot of pressure. I know people are going to slam Belichick for what's happened at UNC. They elected to hire Raheem Morris over Bill Belichick 2 years ago. This is a game. Buccaneers have a ton of injuries. I think there's a ton of pressure on Raheem Morris today. Bengals and Browns. You just can't lose if you're Cincinnati. If you don't make the playoffs again, if you're Cincinnati for a third straight year, Zach Taylor's got to go. Dolphins and Colts. Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill. I think Tua, the way he's handled Tyreek this offseason, was 100% right. Tyreek Hill needs to gain the trust back of his teammates. He shouldn't have the trust right now with the crap that he pulled at the end of the season, saying that he was going to be off the Dolphins and he's going to force a trade. The Colts have some talent. They do. Jonathan Taylor, Tyler Warren, Michael Pittman Jr. I'm just not a believer in Daniel Jones. Now, that locker room may believe in Daniel Jones because they didn't believe in Anthony Richardson anymore. But if the Dolphins are a team that can make the playoffs, you got to beat Indianapolis today. And the Dolphins' schedule, and I don't think the Dolphins going to be that good this year, but they can start off, pretty damn well this year. They're at the Colts. They play the Patriots. They're at the Bills. They play the Jets. They play the Panthers. Those first 5 games, the only game you look at, you say, oh, there's no chance, or you don't think the Dolphins are going to win, are going to be at Buffalo. Raiders and Patriots. A lot of intrigue on Ashton Genty. You have Ashton Genty, you have Brock Bowers, 2 of the better younger players in football. I think Pete Carroll has kind of his next Marshawn Lynch. Now, the problem is I'm not a big believer in Geno Smith. He's fine. He's not good, though. It's not great. But Ashton Jeanty today, I think, could have a lot of success up against a Patriot defense that I think will be improved under Mike Vrabel, but they'll still have a lot of work to do. Cardinals and Saints, all the pressure goes on Kyler Murray and Jonathan Gannon. You can't afford to start your season. And I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to have a really good year this year. I'm not high on the Cardinals, though, but I'm high on Marvin Harrison Jr. If you are Kyler Murray and Jonathan Gannon, you're trying to sell me on your product and the two of you are the right duo in Arizona, you don't lose to Spencer Rattler and the New Orleans Saints. Steelers and Jets, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Fields. Last year, Justin Fields playing for the Steelers. Last year, Aaron Rodgers playing for the Jets. The Steelers, to me, their standard has fallen. You don't go into a Steelers season saying Super Bowl. You're like the Super Bowl version for Aaron Rodgers with the Steelers would be to win a playoff game. And I don't think the Steelers are making the playoffs, so obviously I don't think the Steelers are winning a playoff game this year. Giants and Commanders, will there be any year 2 regression from Jaden Daniels? I think at the end of the year, Jaden Daniels still going to have a great season, but I do wonder if the Commanders take a step back. It's going to be tough for them to reach where they did last year. They made it to the NFC Championship game. So in all likelihood, as a team, they're not going to be better. If they make the postseason this year, I think you're pretty happy with the Commanders' sustained success. It means the last 2 years you've been in the postseason. I know last year was the outlier where you make the NFC Championship game. But this year I could see that team still being like a 9 or 10 win team and just missing the playoffs because of how talented the NFC is. Panthers and Jaguars, all about the quarterbacks of this one, Bryce Young and Trevor Lawrence. Cam Ward making his debut today going up against Bo Nix. A lot of people talking about the Broncos, how they could beat the Chiefs and they could win this division. Chiefs start off the year 0-1. They lose to the Chargers. This could be, if you're on that train, a big step in that direction today because then you'd start the season 1-0 and the Chiefs would be 0-1, even though Denver is expected to win today up against Cam Ward and the Tennessee Titans. 49ers and Seahawks, I'm curious to see how healthy Christian McCaffrey is going to be. He's going to play. He's dealing with that calf injury, that Achilles injury. It's just going to be something that's going to be monitored, and we'll see how much of a full go one Christian McCaffrey is. But with that being said, this is a big year. This is a big year for Brock Purdy. And Brock Purdy, he's going to have to show you that he's worth the money this year. Also, Lions at the Packers. Micah Parsons going to play. He's probably going to be limited, though, in the game. I like Detroit in this one. I do. I think Detroit's going to win the game. I'm going to take them outright when I bet the game later today. Houston at the Rams. It's all about the health of Matthew Stafford. A lot this offseason on that back. We'll see how healthy he is. And then coming up later tonight, you got the battle of the MVPs in Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. I'm curious about this Buffalo defense. There are concerns in that secondary entering this season. And Lamar Jackson, it's amazing. This dude is a very good passing quarterback. And I know we all highlight on his dual threat ability, but Lamar Jackson, the passer, is better than the way that people advertise him. And then tomorrow night, you got the Vikings at the Bears. It's all about the quarterbacks with J.J. McCarthy and also Caleb Williams. All right, that will do it for Sunday Morning Football. Ray and Nico, thank you. Cap, thank you as well. Manny, thank you on the updates. And a big thanks to each and every one of you for tuning on in. We'll do this each and every Sunday, 10 a.m. to noon. And we'll be streaming live on YouTube and all the other places that you hear the Infinity Sports Network. Talk to you tomorrow, everybody, at 3 p.m. We out. Bye-bye. I'm Zach Hill. Peace.